What's up, guys? Welcome back again to Heavy Metal Football, and this is Abhi. And today we're going to talk about the hypocrisy that is Manchester United. I mean, just 10, 15 years back, right? Just around right before Sir Alex retired, I think for me in life and for Manchester United, it was so blissful. Like, I didn't have to worry to watch a United game because I knew we were going to win even if we don't play well, and most of the times we always did play well, right? And it's I knew that the players are going to go give everything, and it's people just couldn't write us off, right? And then uh, post Fergie, it all changed. Something changed. I think there was a part of the club that was killed, and I feel like the fans are a part of it too, and we're going to talk about it, right? Let's hope. And as I said, there was a part of the club that got killed, and we're still trying to resurrect that. And I'm not sure when it will happen, although I feel like we are going somewhere with Ineos, right? And we will again talk about Ineos separately, right? So I've been thinking to break these 5, 10, or 15 years, whatever, right? Post Fergie, with all the problems that we've had, uh, I just feel like there are some that have been really, really detrimental to our failures. And the first thing I thought about was the player profiles, the kinds of players that we've got. And when I say player profiles, I don't mean to say whether he's a talented footballer or a less talented footballer or a hardworking footballer, but it is the profiles of players that we've bought and the ones that we've lacked, and it always never matched, right? So to put an example, we've had so many players, right? So we had Mata, Pogba, Martial, Memphis, Sancho, maybe Anthony. There's so many really, really good footballers that we've got, and they have somehow failed and then gone out and did well. And how do you think this happens? It is because I think we clearly didn't profile these players well. Uh, and it was like a instability between managers too. But I think certain profiles of players have to be played in a certain way. Like for example, we had a Juan Mata. You can't play him on the right. I forgot to mention Angel Di Maria. So we had a player in Mata, and he played on the right flank. He's a number 10. So I don't think we used him to his strengths, and it could be said similar things for Di Maria. Although I feel like for Di Maria, I think the rigidity with Van Gaal and his he just hated life at Manchester, right? So, but then all these guys had standards. When I see us struggling, and when I see what we had even after Fergie, it's so contrasting, man. So that is one I always felt. Again, with Pogba, I think that he was a little playful, right? I do agree to that. But then I really feel like he could have been molded much, much better with some consistency in the backroom staff and maybe some leaders in the dressing room, which we lacked, right? So, again, I'm not trying to say one is better than the other here, right? Um, these guys have always been good footballers, uh, but then we just haven't found a way to use them to our success. So I really wanted to talk about the player profiles being the most important mistake that we've done, and we've been doing this until maybe an Eric Ten Hag. But I think over the last year we've got some good. I genuinely feel that, okay, irrespective of where we are in the table. And just after I thought the player profiles could be one of the problems, which was one of the problems, I also feel like for Manchester United, post Sir Alex's retirement, I think the media has just taken us for a case. I really miss those times where like the press guys are in post-match interviews and all. They used to be so scared to ask questions to Sir Alex, right? And he had a control over all these things. I think we've lost we've lost it, and I feel like a lot of this English media have always have been really unfair to managers like Louis Van Gaal and Mourinho. They were trying to build okay, whatever you all think. I like Mourinho, and I really have grown on to appreciate what Van Gaal had done. Although at that time I absolutely hated it because I've been constantly uh, been fed by these media narratives and all these ex-players, pundits, etc., blaming that our football was slow, lazy, etc., blah blah blah. When he was inheriting something right after David Moyes, I think it was one of the most toughest times, right? For getting this, but I really feel bad for the man, Louis Van Gaal. The way he handled stuff with the media was fantastic, and he had a squad of really young players and players at the absolute end of their careers, and they had to give him time. But then they sacked him. But I think most of it, the fans that it hated him, including me, was because we've been fed these lies about Louis Van Gaal, his football being slow, etc. Like the same thing we've been saying. Like when it comes to Oli, Ten Hag, or even right now Ruben Amorim, all these pundits are saying that hey, it's the players. Then I think it should be fairly said for Louis Van Gaal too, and which we did. And one thing that I really appreciate about Louis Van Gaal was every time there was a crisis, the man turned to our academy. I don't know how, like Martial, you can pretty much consider him like an academy player, right? Rashford, I think he played Fosu Mensah, Paddy McNair. I remember one left-footed kid used to keep giving crosses. He's nowhere to be seen. Timothy Fosu Mensah, so many players, right? And he somehow got these guys who post Louis Van Gaal, most of us fans said they are absolutely terrible footballers, and Louis Van Gaal made them play uh, possession-based football, and that I would forever appreciate that guy, man. That guy was so unfairly treated. Sorry, Louis. It was our fault, right? So yeah, I wanted to talk about this uh, media agenda that is being fed to the press, the managers, the players, and the fans, where it just became such a chaotic situation where I think I started to see uh, something that is broken. Like as I said before, Sir Alex retired, I didn't have to worry about this. Now I have to think whether if we buy a player, he will get on with the manager or not. So these are like nuanced things that has been happening, and even the fans are so. I don't know. I've never seen our fans um, this divided, unlike the name, right? So yeah, and finally, and I think this is the worst, right? You can say we bought the wrong players. You can say uh, we've had good managers underperforming, players underperforming, etc. But I think our fans have become so toxic, right? Uh, it I don't even know how to explain this uh, because we've bought into this media agendas and stuff like that. We really have failed as a community to appreciate lots of good footballers, and then we also celebrated the lot of bad ones, irrespective of who was talented and not talented among these lot. So I can, between the same groups, I can pick talented and just hardworking players, right? Uh, for example, Juan Mata, the guy was a fantastic, fantastic footballer. We never used him, and our fans kept saying that this guy is always slow, etc. But there are so many teams that have slow players, and they've all played well. Good footballers are just good footballers wherever they go. And I really, really feel, in hindsight, we have mistreated Martial. Yeah, I mean, the thing between him, Jose, etc., was there, right? But I think as fans, we have just not appreciated his talent. Yes, apart from his injuries and all that, guy was just a fantastic, fantastic footballer, and I think he did do well with the chances he was given, uh, because it was never regular, right? And Pogba, I know I'm going to divide a lot of opinions here, but I think we just failed to take the opportunity to unleash a guy like Pogba. That guy is something else. So forget all the doping scandals and all that he is in right now. We don't know what goes through in their personal lives. But then, if we have a player like him and do not use him to his strengths, I think we are failing as a team. And we've done this for so many, many players. And it is so unlike of Manchester United. Like, look at the kind of flair players, as I mentioned, Di Maria, etc. Our club was always about unleashing these class footballers uh, and playing to their strengths. And if you guys think uh, most of these guys wouldn't have played for Fergie, I feel like we are all wrong, or I don't know, because for us as a club, we've always thrived on having players like these. Uh, when you guys say players are dancing, etc., blah blah blah, sometimes we have to let players express themselves so that they can be the best on their pitch, and we've always done that. If we have to go back to say times of Busby Babes, our one of our greatest footballers, Georgie West. I don't know if you guys, many guys probably don't know him. The older guys will know him. That guy was a walking problem on the streets. Right? He'll just go have a drink and just go do whatever he does, come drunk to training and passed out. But on the football pitch, you give the ball to him, he makes magic happen. And we've dealt with players like that, and we've always had that, and we've celebrated them, right? And even with Sir Alex, right, it's always happened. Like a guy like Rooney, I think he's similar to Pogba, not in the literal sense, but Rooney was a different kind of a character. He was so fiery that you never knew if he was going to get a red card or something like that. But then another manager might have just tried to suppress his natural instinct as a person and on the football pitch to make him something else, right? And we've always, like I said, we've always had players like that, and we've somehow uh, post Fergie not appreciated a lot of these players, and we've appreciated the ones that have good, like when we see a good reel on Instagram or YouTube, we start celebrating these players, and some players are good with the media, like guys like Bruno, etc., etc. He's just he knows what to speak in front of a camera, right? But maybe a guy like Pogba might not be like that. He might just go say stuff, but then things happen, right? Uh, why I say this is because whenever we have a Bruno Fernandes conversation, I see most of the media and even our fans say he's just playing in a really, really pathetic football team where players are bad. They're just not making use of him. So I think if that is the bar we have to set for Bruno, it should be the same for Pogba. So maybe if he had a better uh, support system behind him, he could have been much better than Bruno, and we would never know that. And I'm not trying to make a, a Pogba versus Bruno comparison here. It is just that I think we are treating players unfairly. Like today, it could be a Bruno versus Pogba, and tomorrow it could be another player versus another player. Right? And the latest example, I kept telling so many of my friends, and I might have shot. I have a video on Casemiro. I would still curse the English media for saying a guy like Casemiro is washed out, is not committed, and he's just here at United to get the paycheck. I mean, how dumb can the English media be? These guys, oh my god. Because when I see a clip of Garnacho, who's still at United, wearing an Aston Villa shirt and Rashford behind it, I am not really sure what most of our fans call commitment. What is the meaning of commitment? And what is the meaning of promoting youth when we are celebrating I know I don't even want to name names here. I know how popular Garnacho is with our fan base, and for me personally, I've never liked him much as a footballer. I liked him in the beginning, but as I saw more of him, I absolutely hated him as a footballer. He's just a bad footballer. I would still agree with Rashford. But Garnacho is just something else. I had a conversation with my friend. We had a literal argument when these guys were comparing uh, Garnacho to Anthony Elanga. I always felt Anthony Elanga was a much better footballer than Garnacho. But I don't know, for some reason he doesn't look fancy, or I don't know, he doesn't have a bicycle kick or something like that. But look how he's playing now, and I really feel like he was so unfairly treated by the fans and Eric Ten Hag that he left, right? But how can we just cast away a player like him and celebrate a guy like Garnacho? I would never understand. So I think all these have been a problem here, right? And I think, uh, to be really honest, best part of trying to move on or trying to go forward and to be the best we can be is to just sit down, look back, and self reflect. Because I think all of us have made mistakes. The media, the fans, media will keep doing that. Uh, the club, I hope, has changed, right? But I think us as fans, we really need to get our whatever together, right? Because this is not right, and we will always keep fighting if we just don't take some time to look back and reflect. And I have a solution to this, right? Weirdly, I just request all you guys to stop judging players based on media agendas. And eye test sometimes is a really good way to judge players. Yes, you have stats, and even with uh, the fan channels and forums and all, always take everything with a pinch of salt because you never know who's connected with whom and what agendas they have. And at this point, we have to let go of all whatever agendas we have and just be true to ourselves. Uh, because even if the fan channels do not have an agenda, just because some fan channel has like a million followers or a 10 million followers doesn't mean they have to be right. Sometimes anyone can be right, and most of the times, for people who've watched football for a long time, most of the times they are right, right? So please judge players with your own perspective. And another way to, I would say, judge a player is, as much as you see what they do, it is important to see what they do not do. Like for a guy, for example, a guy like Garnacho, I know he's going to beat a man, beat his wing back a few times, but I also know he's going to be in the wrong position so many times. Rashford is never going to track back, not going to make most runs that a player has to make. And compare that to player like, say, again, I'll go with Casemiro. People always saw all the stupid things he did or the mistakes he did and never saw what he was trying to do or actually trying to do. And it goes the same for Bruno. Like, people always see all these fancy passes and not his mistakes. But then it's again just an example. There are so many players we can pick and choose here, right? But please, please judge players for what they are and not the perceptions that is given to him. Make your own perception. And finally, to end it on a note, to be really, really honest, guys, I think uh, I'm happy with the squad right now. Like, I know people will have opinions based on the season that we've had. Uh, but I do like the group of players that we have, barring a couple, right? And I think we are taking the right steps in the right direction. It is going to take just a little more time. And with that, thank you so much, guys. Have add in your comments and hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye bye.